Hi, sweet darlings. It's Kai Ashley here, and today we are talking about the surprising purpose of anger and how you can use it to your advantage. Now, understanding anger on this level has completely deepened the way that I understand emotions. I'd already been working with emotions and helping people heal from social anxiety, mental health issues, all these deep-seated things for years before I really understood anger on this level. So if you're a healer, if you're a leader, if you're somebody who simply just wants to know how to control your own emotions, this is going to help you understand it on a deeper level. Now, let me give a shout out to the late, great Marshall Rosenberg. Okay, he has a book of the same title, The Surprising Purpose of Anger. And so this is a bit of an homage to him for what he's taught me. And you can read his book. You can totally grab that. Gives a much deeper insight into this. Now, since I read that book and I've studied his stuff years ago, I've integrated it into my life and I've shared it with many of my clients. And basically, I've helped people to overcome their issues and get their needs met. Okay, so the surprising purpose of anger. Anger is demonized a lot in society, but the truth is anger isn't a bad thing. When we get stuck on anger, when we direct it to the past and dwell on things, well, that's not good, because when you get stuck on anger, that will just cause a lot of rage and you're in a type of victim mentality because it means you're blaming other people. And then if you direct anger to the past, well, that is when you get stuck into depression. Okay, because depression ends up being repressed anger. So depression isn't just this feeling, whatever that is. Depression is a repression of energy, so that when you are thinking of the past and all the things you did wrong, or the ways that you were wronged, the ways that you failed or that you lost, you get very angry about it. And because we weren't taught how to have our emotions, we repress the anger, and instead it stagnates. It gets stuck in our body. It turns into trauma, which is just another word for trapped negative energy that stagnates. And then it turns into an echo chamber backwards and forwards. And this is how you get stuck in depression. Okay, so it's very important to understand that anger is not a bad thing, but you must know what it's for, which we're about to cover, and how to direct it, which we're going to also talk about. Okay, let's all take a breath together, shall we? Yes. So the purpose of anger is actually this. You ready? Is to get your needs met. When you find that there's some sort of need that's not being met, then you're going to get angry. But get this, it's not the thing that happens. So let's say that you're talking with a close friend and you're really confiding in them, but then they just start talking about some party that they were at and talk over you and ignore you. Well, that might make you angry because a need to be heard and to be shown that you are loved by your friend, these needs aren't met. But it's not the fact that they just talked over you that makes you angry, okay? Get what it actually is. It's that when they talked over you, you had a thought about, how dare they? That's not fair. It's not okay. I would never do that. And it was the thought that made you angry. So it's never what another person does. It's how you perceive it. And then that anger comes up in a flash of energy to propel you forward so that you can express yourself and use passionate energy to get your needs met. The problem occurs when you don't understand this and you just start blaming the other person and go into a rage, or you repress it and you shrink back and you get triggered in some way. What you want to do instead is understand that this anger is a way to get your needs met. So you're allowed to feel the anger. You're allowed to even snap if you need to. Like there's no, like we're having a human experience. But the key is to learn how to actually communicate your anger, because underneath anger, there's always a level of sadness. Okay, so it's not just anger. The anger is to help you understand that this sadness is about loss and grief, and the anger is about not getting your needs met, and not being okay, it's not being fair, something needs to change. So you can use that anger. But what you want to do in this particular situation, let's say at the table, you're expressing your heart out to your friend, and then she just talks over you rudely about some other thing that is just superficial. So you get angry. So you want to take that deep breath, feel the anger. Don't try to push it down. You may need to make a sound like, and then you simply tell your friend how you feel. Okay, so you don't diagnose what they're thinking. So if you say, oh, you don't care about me, you never care about what I say, you are just a selfish, obnoxious person. Okay, well, that's going to put them back up. They're immediately going to bristle, they're going to get angry back, and they're going to shut down. You won't accomplish anything. It'll just end up in a fight. It might be part of what takes you into a vicious cycle with this person of constantly going into different fights. So instead, you want to not tell them what they're thinking. You don't diagnose them as to what they're thinking, as to their motivations. Oh, well, you're doing this because you're selfish. You're doing this because you just don't care about me. You don't know that. Okay, so that's diagnosing them. And yeah, you don't want to put words in their mouth. So what do you do instead? It's very simple, sweetheart. You tell them how you feel. You name the action of what happened. Okay, so this is nonviolent communication, which Marshall Rosenberg teaches, also called compassionate communication, a much better name, obviously. But anyway, so you want to just name the behavior. And at first, for those of us where we're used to being more passive aggressive, that will feel really weird. But instead, what will happen is people will say passive aggressive things like, oh, so I guess your mind is elsewhere. It's like, what is that? Like, you're trying to say what? That's just passive aggressive. It doesn't solve anything. So instead, you just say to your friend, hey, right now, I was just expressing to you, and you're naming the behavior, and I noticed that you just talked right over me. Okay, so you just named the behavior. You didn't say, right now I was expressing myself and you don't care about me, so you just started talking because you're so selfish. No. Rewind that, right? Instead, you want to say what I just said. So you want to name the behavior. Hey, look, stop. I just noticed that I was just expressing myself to you and you just talked right over me. Then you go into, and that made me feel. How? That made me feel unheard. That made me feel unloved. It made me feel like you don't care. And then once you do that, rather than attacking the person, if you need to take a deep breath, then you tell them your need. My need is, you don't have to say these exact words, but you could say, look, I have a need to actually be heard when we speak. It's really important to me that I feel like you're listening. Okay, so that's very different than you are this and you're selfish and you never listen and how dare you and blah. When you feel that anger and you think that's not okay, you go into this process, into this very simple process. So we've already covered that you name the behavior that you saw. We've covered that you go into I feel. And then you tell them what's actually important for you, what the needs that you have, the values that you have. Well, in this situation, I really have a need to be listened to. And then you give them an instruction. And the instruction in this situation would be, look, in the future, when I'm expressing myself like this and I'm pouring my heart out to you, could you please be more careful to really notice and listen to me? Bam! It is that simple. The 4-step process to nonviolent communication. So I encourage you to try it out. In fact, grab out a pen and paper and use these steps, okay? Use the steps so that you can map out a problem that you have, maybe a conversation you need to have with a loved one, maybe something that you thought that you couldn't express. It could even be having time to yourself to do personal development work, and they're maybe always around and you feel like you just can't say anything. That's a big one that I see with people. So make sure you tune into what you truly desire, what you truly need, and learn how to express it. Okay, so when you learn how to communicate like this, it's going to change absolutely everything. You're going to be able to use your anger as a signpost, like to you, like a big sign saying, hey, your needs aren't being met. And then you can use this nonviolent communication process, this compassionate communication process, to get your needs met in a way that actually works and is good for everyone. Okay, how does that sound? So the other thing that I want to touch on with anger is, remember, it's when you get angry about all the things that you did in the past. Oh, I can't believe I did that. And which is normal for a little bit. Okay. But that's also judgment. So what you want to do is learn, practice, decide to cut out that judgment. Whereas instead it's like that energy, you really want to look at it with, I'm human. Okay, that's curious. Yep, I did it again. Oh, silly me. Okay. How can I improve in the future? What did I do that I liked? What can I change? What did I do that I didn't like? What can I change? You see? And the case where you can use anger to propel you forward, which I really want to touch on in this video, is so powerful and so important. It's when you really think that things should be different. You're absolutely ready for them to change. Maybe you have done things in the past that haven't helped you live your dream life and reach your goals and be healthy and good to yourself. But rather than being like, oh, because I did these things, it means that I'm a failure and I did it again. No, that's only going to suck you into an abyss of despair, people. Okay, so you really want to avoid that at all costs. And if you're stuck in that currently now, use my EFT tapping, my energy work, and a lot of it over time. Just keep going with the tapping and it is going to clear it. So as you know, I have videos on here. I'll put some links below for you to try. I'll put a video for EFT for depression in case you're going through something like that, plus ones for anxiety and other things. Also, I do offer one-to-one personal work, which is like extremely powerful. And I've taken people from some real serious issues, even blocks and fears and sabotage patterns, all the way down to suicidal tendencies and social anxiety and agoraphobia, all the way to living a life where they're actually confident and happy. So if you've got stuff like that going on and you're the type of person that you know, like you're ready to go quicker, farther, and you know the value of support, then definitely get in touch with me. Okay, so how to use this anger as a propulsion to actually help you in your life. As I said, rather than dwelling on what happened, be like, oh, I'm such a failure, be like, you know what? This has to change, and you can feel angry. Let that anger bubble up, because when you're in anger, then you're no longer in despair. And despair, depression, guilt, and shame are really low vibrational toxic energies. And so as you walk yourself up the vibrational scale, you're going to get angry and you're going to be flapping about in people's faces sometimes, and it's going to feel like, so you want to know how to direct it into the right direction. Okay, you direct it in the right way by being like, you know what? No, I'm done with this. Say words like that. I'm done with this. I'm not available for that anymore. I'm not putting up with this. And then let it propel you into action. If you're like, maybe you're a life coach or a healer or a leader or in business, and you maybe have been slacking off. And you're like, no, this is no good. People need to know my name. I need to do better at this. Rather than letting that take you down into despair, as I keep saying, you want to let it propel you forward. And so you write a freaking blog about it. You get on video and you do a live stream. You use that anger to propel you forward. Now, you don't live in anger forever, but when you use it to propel you forward, it will naturally transmute into a more positive energy. It'll turn into hope. which we might turn into frustration first, but then it will turn into hope. And then it will turn into trust and faith and results. Okay, so I would love to know in the comments below, what has been your biggest highlight or takeaway from this teaching today? Okay, so please share. If you want to share the nonviolent communication steps that you've written out, feel free. That way I know that you're there. If you have any questions, I can help you, even if it's like to do with wording for your 4-step process. I'm very happy to help you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button and feel free to share this video with a friend if it has helped you. I'm Kai Ashley, and I want you to remember, you get to choose your reality. Have a great day. Bye.